Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wise Talk podcast. It has been a very, very long time since we've last talked to y'all. I'm here. Y'all know who I am, CaBreon Wise, and I am joined by the Executive Vice President of the Wise Media Network, Kevin Dineen. How's it going?
It's going good. How's your summer been?
It's been fine. Nothing but working since then. Uh, few things we were supposed to be back last week, but work got in the way with that. So I finally we now have the free time, the schedule take place to give y'all the content as we promised to give you this summer. And we're gonna have a whole bunch of fun this summer, and we're gonna kick things off with the NBA Finals as Game 4 is tonight. We could potentially be crowning a champion. Mavericks are down 0-3. Um, Game 3 was quite interesting. It was a close first half. Then Boston completely ran away in the third quarter. Then in the fourth quarter, Dallas went on an incredible run. Then it was stopped by three bad fouls by Luca. Um, which ended up with Luca being fouled out, and Boston ended up pulling away Game 3. So, Dineen, I need you to answer this question:
Yeah.
does the series end tonight?
I mean, it very well could be. Dallas is all but defeated at this point. Um,
Mhm.
Luca just, the Celtics top to bottom have the way better team. Now, does Dallas have probably the best player between the two teams? Yeah,
Mhm.
Luca's that good. But I guess, good can only take you so far when you don't play defense. And then when you foul out and you're supposed to be the guy everyone's looking to, it's not going to pan out well. You got the Celtics who have Jaylen Brown, who I think's been way better than Tatum's been the entire postseason. You have
Same.
Tatum, who that's not to discredit Tatum's ability, but Tatum's a stud. Drew
Mhm.
Holiday, just phenomenal.
Yep.
Phenomenal. And then Kristaps, they didn't even need him last game.
Mm-mm.
And is he supposed to play tonight?
There's still no update with them, but they saying the injury is like rare, so I'm going to guess that
Yeah.
he's not.
So they know they can do it without him. Al Horford will go out there and put up like 8 points and get like 5 assists or something in his place. But just depth wise, there's such a better team. Jason Kidd's not a good coach. I don't think he has the ability to get these guys to make the adjustments that they need.
Mhm.
Boston just defensively, they're too long. They make Luca force some bad shots, and he's going to take them. And when he does finally dish out, outside of Kyrie, nobody's in rhythm ever.
Right.
You look at he's keeping the ball. He's keeping the ball. He's the best player on the team. It's the ball in his hand. That's great. I get it. But you got to get your guys involved early if you want them to make a difference in the game for Game 4. But we'll just go. We'll say Dallas wins tonight. Give them a gimme. Avoid the sweep, but they're going to lose in 5.
Um, Now I feel awful because I picked Dallas to win this series in 6 games, and there's no way in hell this is happening now. And I believe the series is ending tonight. I think Boston is gonna finish the sweep. Um, I hate using this. I really hate using this logic, but they look defeated. The Mavericks, they look defeated. When your best player fouled out and the three awful fouls in which he fouled out, it's just terrible. Luca, also in my opinion, I believe he was the biggest reason why they lost in Game 3. His defense has been awful. As I'm reading a stat here, the highest blow by percentage allowed on drives in a single playoff series over the past decade Number one is Luka in this series at a 67.7% rate. That's awful. Like, that is terrible. And he defensively, he was awful. He could not initiate for the offense, as I thought he was disrupting Kyrie's rhythm because he's finally came along after the two bad games at Boston. Kyrie, I believe, dropped 34. Kyrie could have went ahead and gone for 45, but the way the system is again being initiated around Luka, but we all know Luka. He dribbles through the first 16 seconds and then tries to make something happen within the next 8. So it's pretty much it's still Luka or nothing because you do have Kyrie, but there seems to be no way that you can get him the ball, even though Kyrie is great off the ball, but yet somehow it's still Luka ISOs. And that's, again, a Jason Kidd problem, as you brought up. I've argued with EJ, EJ, Dineen. I've I've argued with him all summer about Kidd because he was very, very uh stagnant about Kidd actually being a good coach. And I was like, no, I have watched this man coach the Bucks for about 4 years. I know what I'm talking about. So he's just not a good coach. I know I know what I'm seeing here. And also we have our other seasonal analyst and content creator coming on in just a minute. Just waiting for the official join because Zoom is stupid. But to keep going, I do believe that it is over. Not anything else to add, and I believe he's here. Dineen.
I got one thing to add. So however many games, it ends up taking, they could be done tonight. I'm gonna put good money on Tatum recreating the Kobe finals image.
Oh joy.
I'm going to put my entire salary on that happening when they do win it. He will recreate that photo. He wants to be Kobe so bad. You watch every move that he makes. He loves doing that extended L fade away. Like it's like he goes out there and he's like, I know they're gonna make awesome edits of me online next to Kobe. This is gonna be so sick. I'm gonna do this. I honestly think that goes through Tatum's head sometimes. But yeah, Boston's gonna win. Like I said, it could be tonight. I'll give Dallas the freebie, but for tonight, so I'll go, Celtics in 5.
Yeah. Elliot has just joined us.
So
we have we're currently talking about the NBA finals, and I asked the question, do you believe that the series ends tonight?
nope, I think it goes to 6.
You still believe that Dallas can win 2 games? Explain.
Yo, I think they'll get. I think Kid. I think he'll, fight through it and get Luka to. I think Luka, is going to go out there, play his butt off. But I think, dude, when you're down 3-0, it's over. But I think they'll at least put up kind of a fight, but they'll still go out in 6.
I definitely understand it, but I just don't know about these role players because, as Dineen said before, you joined. No one is stepping up to the way that they can. I mean, PJ Washington was actually good on Wednesday, but anybody else, Gafford only gave you 6. Josh Green only gave you 3. Derrick Jones Jr. only gave you 2. Tim Hardaway Jr. should not even be on the floor. But he played 19 minutes Wednesday and went 0 for 5 and 0 for 3 from 3 point. It's awful. And also, Jason Kidd playing Jaden Hardy for 3 minutes. What's that about? Maxi Kleber does nothing on the court. Yeah, he's still on the floor. If for some reason, again, to my point, why Jason Kidd is not that great of a coach, it's an NBA Finals and you played 11 players.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
I don't know how you could do that because as I see here, Joe Mazzulla only played 8 Celtics.
Well, if you thought like
So
last year, Mike Budenholzer, he only played like he didn't play that many guys off the bench. That's why the Bucks got they got kicked. They got their butts kicked by Miami. So you can't be just playing the same guys every. You know what I'm saying?
well, with the Mike Budenholzer, his lack of not putting players on the court is not what cost us.
Okay, but
His lack of adjustments against Jimmy Butler is what cost us. There's no reason why you should be putting Jim. You seen Jimmy Butler cooking Drew Holiday. Why are you leaving him on him? You have a defensive player of the year on your team, and you don't think to put him on Butler to disrupt him.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but also if they would have gotten that adjustment, he still wasn't putting the. He's like Jay Crowder. He never played. I'm trying to think of the other guys. There was a guy that had signed that previously into that season. Forgot it. Myers Leonard. They didn't play him. There was a few other guys. There was a few other guys. There was like 2 other guys that never played.
Maybe you could say Marjan Beauchamp. That
Oh,
I
yeah.
do agree with you with that. I think he probably should have played last year. I give you that, but Miles Leonard maybe.
They never played what's his face? Marjan.
Yeah. Mhm.
And they never played Jordan Nora.
Oh, Jordan Nora. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't think that was last year. That was the year before, but still, they never played him.
Yeah. But to close out this segment, at this given moment right now, who's your Finals MVP?
Want me to go?
Jaylen Brown.
Start with you,
I'm taking Jason Tatum. He's too big of a
Jason
name to
Tatum.
not get it. Too big of a name not to get it.
Huh.
I mean, anybody can get it. Andre Iguodala got a Finals MVP. I don't think
With LeBron averaging 35-point triple-double.
Right. So I think Jaylen Brown, he's been, I think, the catalyst for the Celtics the entire series. I think they both did great game 3, but Jaylen Brown, even Jason Kidd's trying to use that to his advantage, but I know he can't by saying, oh yeah, Jaylen Brown's the best player in the team to try and rattle Tatum.
Right.
Tatum didn't get rattled, but I think Jaylen Brown gets the MVP.
Yep. My MVP is also Jaylen Brown. Kristaps Porzingis probably could have gotten it if he were still healthy after what happened game 1, because he completely changed that game. But as of right now, my MVP is Jaylen Brown. If Tatum does have a big night, we could end up having a different conversation. But from what I'm seeing and from what I'm expecting, I think Jaylen Brown will be the MVP.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So now we're going to move forward to the MLB. We are now through the first 3 months of the season, and a lot has happened. I'm gonna give you the rundown of some key thoughts here. Here in the playoffs, the Yankees are the number 1 seed in the AL, Guardians number 2, Mariners 3, Orioles the wild card 1, Royals wild card 2, and the Twins wild card 3. In the NL, the National League, the Phillies are 1, the Dodgers are 2, the Brewers are 3, the Braves are the wild card 1, Padres wild card 5, and the Giants wild card 6. We're gonna kick things off with Dineen. What are some key thoughts that has went through your mind through the first 3 months of the season?
Yeah, so some key thoughts to start the season. Aside aside from my team, the White Sox being the worst team in MLB history, and then them not being allowed to even get a top 10 draft pick this next year because they drafted 5th overall last year and they did a lottery. So it's been awful. But outside of my team being terrible, knowing they're going to be terrible, this season's been just incredible, just baseball wise. We got our top 2 AL MVP candidates, Aaron Judge and Gunnar Henderson, playing both in the AL East. Those are really the only 2 teams in the AL East worth anything at this point. And the Yankees have been doing this, banged up a little bit too. Yankees look good. Baltimore's got a real young core. It's been emphasized. They even called up the old number 1 prospect, who's no longer the number 1 prospect, Jackson Holliday, who did come up and get sent down because of struggles. But he'll be fine. He's young, but they got talent all over the place, which I could see them making trades and making moves to shore up their team. You flip it to the AL Central. Last week, 4 of the 5 teams were all over 500, so it's a really tough division. Guardians look like the Twins have the best team in that, so I could see them winning the AL Central, but I think the Guardians had the opportunity to pull away from that. NL East is down outside of the Phillies. Honestly, I mean, the Mets are just bad. Braves are banged up. Ronald Acuna Jr. is out for the year, which is horrible because he's such a good part of baseball and he's so fun. Phillies probably run away with that. No problem. NL Central, surprise, surprise, everybody doubts the Milwaukee Brewers every single year. You lose Craig Counsell to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are 7.5 games back of the Brewers. Brewers are, I think they have a 7-game or 6.5 game lead over the Cardinals. Brewers are a couple of pieces away from being a very, very legitimate playoff team. I mean, I think they're going to win the Central.
Yeah.
But to perform well in the playoffs, they need to shore up the back end of the bullpen. Devin Williams not being around is hurt.
Yeah.
And then they need to add another starter or 2 possibly. Which I think, there are 2 guys that one guy they've been linked to my White Sox is Garrett Crochet. And I like the Brewers as well as the Sox because they play the Cubs and I hate the Chicago Cubs. So I like the Brewers.
Right.
I would not. I'd be nervous about going after Garrett Crochet. This is the first year he's ever started since high school. He's been a starting pitcher. Coming off Tommy John, I think the second one he's ever had. He's phenomenal. I don't know if he's going to. Yeah, he had 13 Ks last night. 7 innings pitched, a couple of walks. Only gave up, I think the only run he gave up was a home run. But he's disgusting. He's awesome. But his longevity kind of concerns me for the Brewers to be rumored to give up their number 1, 2, and 5 prospects in Mizorowski, Jefferson Cuero, and I forget the other. But I don't think it would. That's the White Sox thinking, optimistically. I think they can get the 1 and 5 or the 2 and 5 for him. But I would rather them go the cheap route if they want to go to the White Sox and draft and trade for Eric Fetty, where Eric Fetty was the Korean League MVP last year. He's currently 3rd in the MLB in WAR for pitchers. He's gonna eat up a ton of innings. He doesn't walk many guys. He's got a 3 ERA, 3.10. And I think he just fits the Brewers' rotation needs perfectly. You don't need an ace. You need a guy. You need that 3 starter. You need that 4 starter. Eric Fetty matches that perfectly. They don't have to spend a lot to get him. Then they just need some back end help. But I think the Brewers are going to run away with the NL Central. AL West, Astros have been terrible.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. The Astros have been god awful. I love to see it personally. But they're not, they got a ton of injuries as well. They're only 8 games back of the Mariners. The Mariners look great.
Yeah.
Even though they lost to the 18-52 White Sox last night. But they look great. Rangers are going to hang around. They'll be fine. They'll probably get in, I think. And then the NL West, it's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
The Dodgers. They're up 6 on the Padres. The Padres are kind of looking to sell already. Well, they're looking to buy. They don't know what they're doing. They got an aggressive GM who will buy anybody at the drop of a hat, but that team's not built to win. But my biggest surprise has been the Diamondbacks. They're only 3 games under 500. World Series last year and lost. But Corbin Carroll, who I on record last year, and by on record I mean Twitter, I said that I would trade the entire White Sox roster, which is not much outside of Luis Robert. I would trade the entire roster for Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll last year, I mean, borderline MVP season in his first full season in the MLB. 285, 362 on base, stolen bases, 50 plus stolen bases, 25 home runs from a guy who's your leadoff hitter and it's fast. But this year, hitting 210, batting average doesn't mean anything. It does mean stuff these days, but not as much as it used to. But his on base and his OPS are in the gutter. His on base is under 300. OPS is 601, which is well below league average. So he's got to figure it out. Maybe he's just going through a rough start of the year. That happens. He'll figure it out later, but he looks pretty lost at the plate. Those are my big takeaways. I think we're going to see a lot of trades coming up. I know, like I said, I talked to the White Sox a lot. Michael Kopech, who's their closer, it just came up on my phone that, the Royals, Phillies, and Yankees are interested. The Royals, sneaky, have a really good team with, I think, the best overall player in the league in terms of fielding speed, power, and hit for contact and arm strength, and Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
So they're sneaky. I'd look out for them to make a pretty good run. And then, Luis Robert, that's the big guy, the big ticket that's going to be traded out of the White Sox. They floated around 4 or 5 top 30 prospects from the Philadelphia Phillies has been the top trade rumor. I don't see the Phillies doing that because Luis Robert has been, he's the Cuban Mike Trout, but he has never been healthy ever.
Yeah.
It's a big concern. So, but those are my long-winded thoughts on how the year's going. I love it so far. It's been a fun season.
Yeah. Elliot, what are your thoughts about this season?
I think there's been a few surprises. Like, hold on. Sorry about that.
You're all good. You're all good.
With the Rangers, they're down. How many games was it again?
The Rangers, they
it
are
was like
down
6 or 7.
Like 5.5 back.
Yeah, I was expecting them to come back and take care of their AL West, but they're they're struggling a little bit, but maybe it's a little hangover. But I think they'll get back in the playoffs. Brewers, they're kind of a surprise for me, but not really. I thought the Pirates and the Reds were going to come in and take over the Central. I guess I was wrong about that too. Craig Counsell's having a tough time with Cubs. He has with his bullpen, he's not managing that well. And in tight, crucial situations, the Mariners are, I'm pretty sure they're first in the AL West. I might be wrong. Cleveland, doing their job. Kansas City's also, they're doing pretty good. I didn't think they're gonna. They just have Bobby Witt. That's who I thought they just had. But they got they're doing pretty good with their team, their roster, and their rotation. Phillies.
Yeah, Bobby's batting 330. I didn't know that.
I know. I saw it. He said he's not even doing that good. But I guess everybody's stepping up. The Phillies, man, they're just like unstoppable right now. I think they lost their last 2 or 3 to the Red Sox. Was it? I don't know if it was not the last 3 or 2, but
The last two to the Phillies, yes. Yeah.
last 2 to the Red Sox. Yeah, so
Mhm.
but I don't think that's gonna mean much. I think maybe nobody's perfect in the MLB. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna lose
Right.
some game. Phillies. I mean
But
the
there are 2
Braves.
road games as well, so I I think they're fine.
Acuna Jr. towards ACL. That's a bummer. Very, very sad. Not just for the
Yeah.
Braves, but really everybody. Like is the name? I don't know. Dineen said he's a big part of baseball. So it's hard. It's sad to lose him. And then on the NL West, Dodgers always gonna take care of that division. San Francisco not having that good of a time. Padres, they bought everybody. And it's not working out that well. We're seeing what they did. We're saying the same thing with the Mets when they spent all that money in that one. Was it 2022 off season? Off season.
Yeah.
You remember 2022? They
Really
spent a lot. They did not. Yeah, it was not that good. Arizona, if you see it, um, Arizona is actually 4th place. I was expecting them to be higher, but also it is a tight game back lead.
Yeah,
And then we look
both last year's World Series teams, not the greatest of
yeah,
starts.
exactly. Again, maybe because they were also like that last year, and then they came back up. So maybe what I'm saying, look
Yeah.
a trend. And then we look at the AL. New York's up. I'm pretty sure the first, and then I think it's Baltimore, and then Toronto or Boston, and Tampa's just having a horrible year. It's tough to see it,
Mhm.
but it's really bad. Last year, I think they started off like 15-0. It was really good, but they're
Yeah.
off to a bad start. And then yeah, but I'm overall like I'm happy with how it's going with MLB. I think it's gonna be a really fun season. If you look at the playoffs, I think it's the Dodgers, Brewers, and Phillies that are in the lead of the NL. And then if you look at the American League, it's the Yankees, Guardians, and Mariners
Mariners.
that are leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay. But yeah, it's fun to see how it's going right now. There's a few setbacks for some teams, and Cunha, Terrence ACL, that's for sure gonna impact the Braves, but it's not always just Acuna. They have like Olsen, they have a bunch of other guys. They have Murphy, so I think they'll be fine, but they just won't be that good like how they were last year.
Mm. Yeah, so looking at this playoffs again, so if the playoffs were to start, correct me if I'm wrong, Deneen, the first two teams in each conference get first round buys, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Um so the way it'll work in the AL wild card, it'll be the Mariners versus the Twins and the Orioles versus the Royals. How do if they were to face off, how do you think those series would end?
You'd have to take the Mariners right now, over the Twins. Then I would say you'd have to take the Orioles over the Royals. Orioles have a little bit deeper starting pitching, even though it is only a 3-game series for those games. So you really only need 2 guys. You're going to trot out Corbin Burns to go against Seth Lugo, who's doing really well for the Royals, but he's due to come back down to earth. And then I think the Orioles bullpen is just lights out. So that's going to be really
Yeah.
tough to, Corbin Burns would just have to get it to the 6th inning and the game's over. And then, yeah, the Mariners, same thing. Pitching is just that much better. Then the Twins, I think the Twins take the edge in the position player depth overall, but I would say the Mariners would beat them.
Okay. Elliot, what are your thoughts about those matchups?
Okay, can you go over them again? I didn't remember the
Um,
first part of them.
Mariners versus the Twins and the Orioles versus the Royals.
Okay, so Orioles versus the Royals. I think I'd have to take the Orioles, even though they played horrible last postseason. But I think they would take care um the Royals. Royals are inexperienced. I mean, a lot of people said that about the Rangers, but I think like they're not that experienced with that the playoffs. And with the Twins versus Mariners, I'm taking the Twins. I think the Twins they're pretty good. Came in they're pretty because they took off. They got Buxton, they got Lewis, they've got um. I'm sorry, but they got a bunch of guys. I think they could take on the Mariners. We saw the Mariners, was it last season, or no, 2 seasons ago when they were last in the postseason, and they gave up an 8-run lead in the wild card. Am I right about that? Was it 8 or 9? Which one did that? But
think it was
yeah,
8.
I don't know. It was 8. Yeah, it was like 8-0, and they let the Blue Jays. Yeah, they came back off of that. So, but I think I don't know. I'm taking the Twins. They got more. They got more. How do I say it? Like experience.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd have to go with the Twins. But the Mariners, came back and went down to 8. Give them props for that. But yeah, I'm giving it to the Twins.
I'm not gonna dive into the NL matchups, but what I did notice from seeds 5 all the way to 13 are not far behind. At least everybody is at least a half game back to 1.5 games back. It's like a bloodbath on who's gonna get those last 2 wild card spots. Because you have the Padres, you have the Giants, the Cardinals are not far behind, the Reds aren't far behind, the Diamondbacks, Cubs, Pirates, Nationals, the Mets can't exactly be dismissed. It's very, very close. By the time in about a month, this entire wild card in the NL could look completely different, and that's very,
Yep.
very, very, very scary. Do you both have anything else to add before we move forward?
I would like to say that I think the Dodgers and the Phillies. I feel like I want to guarantee them that they're gonna win. The NL. Because they're gonna win their 2 spots to get the first round bye. I think they'll win those, and then I think the
Yeah.
Brewers might. I think the Brewers are probably gonna stay up. They might go down 1, but I think they'll still make it. I like Pat Murphy, what he's doing with the team. And I think St. Louis. I think they have a chance, right? Are they in there? The top 5.
Say who again?
St. Louis? Is it St. Louis?
The Cardinals, they are 7th in the wild card
Okay.
bracket. So they're
7th. Okay, so it should
they're
be
7th. They're the same amount. Yeah, they're tied with the Giants really, but they're behind them because I believe the Giants own the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay. Yes, but yeah, I think those are 2 guarantees that they'll get the first round bye, and then I think Milwaukee they either will stay up or go down 1 to the 4th spot.
Mm-hmm.
So is San Diego in there too? Are they in the mix?
Yeah, the Padres are 5th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't got much to say about that. They bought everybody. They overpaid Bogarts. They traded all those assets for Soto just to give him up a year later. I really don't like what they did with that team, but I mean, they're gonna make the wild card spot. I guess somewhat working, but that's probably not the goal. They probably wanted to win the lead the division, but it's not. It's too early. You know what I'm saying? Only 3
Yeah.
months in. So they still got time. We saw the Cardinals in 2022 when they came. What was it, like a 10-game lead when they were down to the Brewers, and that was no. How much was it? I want to say it was like a 10-game. They're down like 10 games as a second seed or second place in the Central, and then Brewers traded away. They traded away Hader.
Yeah, I
Right?
believe that might have been the case. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe that was
Pretty sure it was like a 8 or 9 game. They were back and they came back. You know what I'm saying? Just like how the Padres are down right now, they can do the same thing. They could come back. So it's too early to determine. That's all I want to say.
Dineen, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, it's like I was saying, it's early. We'll see what happens. I think, you can see the Phillies, I think, are going to drop off at some point because they've played the least amount of teams that are over 500 in the league. So that might have helped them out, but, it's still early to tell. So we'll see. Good season so far, though.
Yeah. We're now going to move things forward. We're going to talk about the state of the WNBA. Now, this has been very, very draining as a basketball fan. So we all know that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Rakia Jackson, Cameron Brink, Aaliyah Edwards were drafted a few months back. And it is hyped up to be one of the biggest draft classes, arguably the biggest draft class in WNBA history. But what it has turned to, instead of promoting the game through the game of basketball, it's turned to a cultural war that includes racism, misogyny, and ignorance. And it is a very big reason why I believe that sports media is at its absolute worst right now. Because if you've seen it on Twitter, we have seen the debates about what Stephen A. Smith, when just showing his ignorance to it, Shannon Sharp as well. A lot of these big name male analysts now talking about WNBA, and they've never talked about it in the past, or they have not talked about it much as in the past. Now they're using Caitlin Clark as that golden goose for them to get agendas off. And it has been draining because before I go off, I want Dineen and Elliot to share their thoughts. And Elliot, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, with the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was like the face of college basketball, women's college basketball, maybe even college basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, everybody was talking about her. What did she average? Like 40 points at Iowa?
A 30 ended up becoming the all-time leading score.
It might have been the playoffs. We she had that much. I don't remember. But
I think there was a time period in which she was averaging 40, but I don't think it was in the tournament or the regular season.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, she was the face of it. And then you had Angel Reese. She came in, she got drafted by, was it Chicago?
Yep, the Chicago Sky.
And then Caitlin Clark got drafted by Indiana, the Fever.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember where the two other, what's her name again? Aaliyah
Edwards was drafted to the Mystics.
Okay. To where?
To the Washington Mystics, who are currently the worst team in the W.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, I've never really like touched on this in the past because like none of the media ever really talked about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I agree with you that media is at an all-time low right now. his bias. You
Mhm.
saw how they did. You see how they do Giannis when they say he's gonna leave and then he resigns for like 5 years. He's already done it
Mhm.
like twice now. They always, they go after the small market teams like Stephen A. Smith. I really don't like him. He's kind
Yep.
of sharp. It's mixed. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Skip Bailey sucks.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like those big name guys. Those guys just starting to suck now.
Dineen, you have anything to add?
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off what you were saying, Gabe. Like the whole, it's it's a lot of it's coming from Twitter, and Twitter we know is a cesspool on the internet,
Mhm.
or X rather. But all like the fact that it's being made into race issues and being misogynistic, it's insane. It's a game. Watch it. Let's appreciate the women in the league for what they're doing, the ones that were already there and the ones that had just came in.
Mhm.
Obviously we got the big name stars like Caitlin Clark. Obviously, all eyes on her. The Fever had one nationally televised game last year. They have about 40 this year.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Aces, for when they're playing Indiana, they're moving stadiums to play in a bigger stadium to get more seats and sell more tickets. Like, it's good for the league.
Yeah.
I actually think, all the chirpiness, the dirtiness, the talking crap to each other on the floor, on Twitter. I think
Mhm.
that's so good for the game, honestly.
Same.
Think about the NBA. The NBA is
Mhm.
nothing but a reality TV show program that plays basketball games. The
Yeah.
WNBA is doing the exact same thing right now, and
Mhm.
I love to see it. Shout out to, we talk about Kate Marin, right, who was on the Iowa
Mhm.
team, gets
Yep.
drafted to the Aces. Crazy what happens when you get drafted by a good team with a good team culture that allows you to thrive. Or she didn't get drafted; she was undrafted. Sorry, but
Yeah.
the good teams, no matter what the sport is, it's good franchises breed good players in a winning culture. So we're going to continue
Mhm.
to see that happen. But outside of that, I mean, it's the most. I'm not going to lie, most I've paid attention to WNBA my whole life. I think that's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Um,
that is true. Yeah.
but yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. So this, I have started watching the WNBA since really the pandemic because the pandemic made me realize how much I love the game of basketball, no matter who's playing it. So, in a minute, something just happened. So, um, I've been watching the WNBA since the pandemic hit. So it frustrates me most to see all of these narratives that are taking place here. Um, and the one that frustrates me most is that it's Caitlin Clark and nobody else. And that frustrates me. So yes, Caitlin Clark is a needle mover, not denying it. She is a needle mover. We have seen it. But let's not act like Aja Wilson does not have a part of this. She is a two-time WNBA MVP. She has an incredible personality. She's currently averaging 29 and 12, and it's not being talked about because we're obsessed with this one girl. And this lies my problem with the entire sports media. No matter what the sport is, even though this is not really the case in the National Football League, but whatever the sport is, they focus their coverage on one person and revolve it and revolve every single team around that one person. No matter if they talk about the Aces, Caitlin Clark's going to be brought up. If they talk about the Connecticut Sky, who's 11-1, by the way, it's not talked about. They're going to bring up Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
The New York Liberty, who's 11-2, by the way, they're going to bring up Caitlin Clark. No matter who it is, the Lynx 9-3, the Storm 9-4, these are great teams with great players who are not being talked about because they're focusing on Caitlin Clark. And then they make these assumptions that the plays against Caitlin Clark and the jealousy or the resentment towards Caitlin Clark is not promoting the game, which is a bunch of bullshit. Because the reason why, because in my opinion, all of the chirping, like you said, all of the chirping, Dineen, is bringing viewers in. And I don't know why the media is not noticing that. It's bringing the members in. And what these media members also have to realize is that promoting the game does not mean promote one person. The way you promote these games, you talk about Aja Wilson, you talk about Breanna Stewart, you talk about who else? Let me just name off players. I have a whole list here. Nafisa Collier, she's averaging 29-11. Kayla McBride, she's averaging 18 points on insane efficiency. Because let me bring this up. She's averaging 50% from the floor, 52% from the three-point line, and 92% from the free throw line. That's 50, 52, and 92. That's insane. The way you promote the game is promote everyone who's doing well. Jewel Lloyd, she was given the name, what was it? It was something Mamba by Kobe. Kobe is the one who liked Jewel Lloyd, and they always talk about how Kobe loved women's basketball. And you know, the media has done a complete 180 since the unfortunate passing of Kobe, God rest his soul. We all know what had happened. Like, I don't understand it. It's not hard to promote the W. And I'm also talking to the W itself, because the league does a terrible job at promoting their stars. A awful job. Like the Sun, 11-1, like I said. Alyssa Thomas is averaging 13, 10, and 8. DeWanna Bonner, 18-6. Dejanay Carrington has been a most improved player, gave Caitlin Clark 2 of her toughest games this year. Like, what's stopping you from talking about them? I know what the problem is. They're lazy. And they've built a narrative, and they're going to keep going on with this narrative for as long as it can take them. And it frustrates me because I've been watching the W. I have seen these players grow and attempt to make this sport better. And I'm seeing this media just try to tear it down, give all the attention to this one girl. And I don't even want to blame Caitlin Clark. Again, the Olympic team narrative. Why are y'all shocked that she did not make it? She's not great enough yet. The USA Basketball Organization does not care about promoting the brand. They care about winning their gold medals, and they're going to put the absolute 12 best on the floor. Before my blood pressure gets hot, does anybody else want to add anything else?
No, I mean, you look at the Olympic roster. I don't, honestly, I think the reason why she was left off Because what is the last spot on the bench matter when our women's team? It's not like the men's Olympic games where the games are going to be close. I mean, you'd end up getting playing time, but we'd be up by 40. So those last couple spots don't matter. So obviously the women's organization for the Olympics does not care. Promote it, which whatever. I probably would have watched more if she was there, honestly. Well, we've seen this happen before where people get left out. I hate people using the Christian Leitner narrative, like, oh, that's why she got left out because Leitner was pushed back on him when he got. It's more of an Isaiah Thomas narrative, if anything, where she's getting left off because people don't want her on. I honestly think about like why certain guys in professional sports no longer had contracts. Talk about the NFL. Let's talk about Tim Tebow. Let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. It's not worth the headache. They're not going to do it. It's not worth the headache at this moment in time. Obviously, 4 years from now, I'm sure she'll be on the roster, but I'm more curious to see if she got invited to be on the 3-on-3 team. And if she turned it down, or she wasn't even considered.
I believe she was considered, but I don't know if they do separate pools for the 3v3, but I'm not sure.
That's because if you're talking, we want to win the 3-on-3. Haley Van Lith is on the team and Caitlin Clark's not. That's kind of crazy. The Cameron Brink makes sense because she's got the size, she's got the ability to shoot from range and get inside and do post moves. Like she's a good all around talent. I understand why Cameron Brink's on it, but I wonder what happened with that. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Elliot, you have anything else? And I don't think Elliot can hear me. But
sorry, I was muted. Muted. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I've never really watched too much of the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Not because they're women or nothing like that. Nobody's really ever talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Up until the last couple months. So I've been watching some. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. And with like how they're gonna bring up Caitlin Clark, even if they're talking about a whole nother team. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I see that happening a lot.
So that kind of got me because I've just been frustrated about this entire narrative for the last month or so. So I had to get that off my chest, and we're gonna go ahead and move forward, and we're gonna preview a little football and talk about one specific team because this one is pretty crucial in the world of the Wise Media Network. And I believe we should be talking about the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Dineen's team, Coach Jay's team, who is being led by a quarterback who I've had a very well-known agenda for and is now joining my professional football team's rival. How that took a very bad 180 for me. So Dineen, of course, I'm going to come to you first since you are the Bears fan. Are the Chicago Bears a playoff contender?
Yes. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward to say. Not just because of Caleb Williams, but because of everything else they've done in the last year in building the team. We added that trade that we made with Carolina when we had the number 1 pick and they ended up drafting Bryce Young. Shout out to Lovie Smith. Shout out to Lovie Smith and the Houston Texans that year because they ended up with CJ Stroud, so it worked out for all of us. Not saying Bryce Young's a bad quarterback. That Carolina team is so bad, I can't even blame him.
It's awful. It's awful.
But the trade's not even done yet. We still have picks next year coming off of that trade. So we flipped that into DJ Moore, Tyreek Stevenson, who we drafted with some picks, great corner. Blanking, right tackle, Darnell
Wright.
Darnell Wright. Got him from that based off that trade. Caleb Williams. I mean, it's looking really good. We drafted Roma Dunze, who I loved him. I wanted him over Malik Neighbors, which everyone's like, oh, Malik Neighbors might be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know.
I think Marvin
the
Harrison
offensive
Jr.
line, the offensive line upgraded center. We drafted some guys to get depth, and the offensive line wasn't bad the last 2 years. Everyone said it was bad. That's all the Justin Fields truthers saying it was bad because Justin Fields led the NFL in time in pocket the last 2 years because he can't see the field. And then now we got the Pittsburgh Steelers saying they're going to try him out at punt return and kick returner, so all the Fields fans can go kick rocks.
Right.
Defensively, we got Sweat, who's phenomenal on one end. Nose tackle depth has gotten better. Not great. They said they were going to go out and try and get a veteran edge rusher for the other side, even though we did just draft somebody. We did just draft the Ole Miss.
Yeah, I've seen a Bleacher Report article saying you could be going for Matthew Judon from the Patriots. Not sure how accurate that is, but
perfect if that's the case. Because the young cat we drafted out of Ole Miss, he just right now he's pretty raw. We'd use him primarily probably third down. Just pin your ears back and go get the quarterback type guy. So he'll need some time to develop. So getting a veteran guy on that edge there would really help out. The linebacker core I think it's good. I think it can be better. We got Edmonds, we got TJ Edwards, and then we got my favorite Wisconsin linebacker,
Jack Sanborn.
Rounding that off, Jack Sanborn, who he just does the right thing. He's not the best linebacker in the world, but he always goes to the right place. And then you look at our DBs. We got rid of the zombie Eddie Jackson, who was just out there getting burnt left and right. But we got, I don't know how many other teams have a better 1 and 2 cornerback duo than we have right now. When you look at Tyreek Stevenson, and then you look at the reincarnation of Charles Tillman. But Jalen Johnson, quarterbacks were better off statistically to throw the ball on the ground than to throw his way last year.
Yeah.
So that's how good he is. But as a team, we drafted a punter in the 4th round who I thought, and I jokingly said it during the college football season, that Taylor from Iowa should have been the Heisman Trophy winner. He had more punt yards than Iowa had offensive yards. But they're just a really good team, top to bottom. New offense coordinator. So when we're seeing reports that the defense is putting the clamps down on, and they're Caleb is struggling and the wide receivers aren't getting separation. It's a new offense against a very good veteran defense. I hope our defense is going out there and shutting them down. And when Caleb throws a pick, that they start talking trash to him. So that's how he's going to grow. Playoff contender, yes. Do they make the playoffs? I don't know, but I think they have the tools and the opportunity to make the playoffs this year. That's all I got on that. And Matt Eberflus, I don't know what he did. He must hit the tanning salon, the gym, got a new haircut. Man's looking good.
He's a full transformation. He looks like a completely different guy. So, Elio, what are your thoughts about the Bears?
This might be a hot take.
All right.
Trading Justin Fields is going to be the biggest mistake they've ever done. Yep, that's what I believe. Because Caleb Williams, you're getting another rookie. You're setting your team a few years back. They might be contenders, but even if they touch the wild card, they're gonna get smacked around in that wild card. It's not gonna work out for them. Why would you trade Justin Fields? He's a great passer. Not that good, but he can pass. You know what I'm saying? He's a great runner. You can't catch him. Why would you trade him to now the Steelers? I I don't know what they were thinking, but I guess they wanted Caleb really bad. They shouldn't have done it. They're gonna regret it for the next 5 years. It's it sets them back a few years. I don't think they're gonna be that good. But they might touch the maybe like 8-8, 7-9, something like that.
Well,
They just
eight,
get
nine,
lucky.
maybe 8, 9, maybe 7 and 10. You're thinking?
7-10. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I vehemently disagree.
Yeah.
I never liked Justin Fields, even when he was at Ohio State. And that's not against him. I always thought he has an arm. He is accurate. He can run. He's a tough guy. He's a good leader. But if he was so good, why'd they only get a 6th-round pick for him?
Right.
It's yeah, he can pass a little bit, and everyone's like, when he has the time, and then you watch the tape, and it's guys open, guys open, guys open, but he takes so long to process to get through those that it's ridiculous. We just saw Trevor Lawrence get paid the highest out of anybody ever.
Yeah.
He is barely better. He barely better statistically than Daniel Jones. So the Bears are better off letting Fields go, resetting that window to pay a quarterback, because if you're paying Justin Fields, you're not paying for anything else. He wasn't worth the money. I hope he does well in Pittsburgh. I really hope he does. He's going to probably, if he ends up starting over Russ, which I doubt, they're going to win games there, because that's all Mike Tomlin does is win football games. But it's just, yeah, he just got an extension, 3 years after they were saying they were going to fire him. I got to ask Mike Coles how he feels about that. But it's just, I don't think the talent, like the raw talent, I don't think there's that much of a difference when you really think about breakdown Fields and Caleb Williams, like pure ability wise. I just think Caleb Williams has the ability to see. And we saw last year what he could do with no offensive line at USC. He was the only reason why they were even around in games. They had no offensive line and they had no defense, and he still balled out.
Right.
So hopefully if he does average, the Bears won 7 games last year?
Yep. 7 games.
With Justin Fields / Bagent. So I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to, I'm looking at 8 or 9 wins. Nothing too crazy, but they could sneak in.
Yeah. So my thoughts on it. This hurts me. I think the Bears are making the playoffs. I think they're going to make it. And the sad part about it is, I have to say they're going to make it because of my belief of Caleb Williams. I've said that he's going to be on Pro Bowls, even though it's not hard in today's age. He's going
Shout out Mitchell Trubisky, Pro Bowl quarterback.
Exactly. I said he was going to be in MVP conversations. I said he's going to win an MVP in the future. I think he's that good. He's that great. I think he could potentially, but he's in the same league as Patrick Mahomes, so it's very, very hard that he'll be at that level. But I believe he can be in the conversation for the best quarterback in the league at one point. I think Caleb is that special. And when you look at who the Bears added, I don't know if you can say that they're not contenders. Of course, they add Rome Odunze, a very stacked wide receiver class, was about the 3rd or maybe 2nd best receiver in the class. You improve your offensive line. You keep Cole Kmet. You add DeAndre Swift. I don't know how much of an upgrade that really is, but we will see. Defense got better. Your cornerback
Quarterback, I believe, top 5 in the league. Jalen Johnson, top 5 corner, top 10 cornerback core in what the Chicago Bears have. Linebacker core, very good. Jack Sanborn is only young and developing. You got TJ Edwards, of course, Tremaine Edmonds. It's just, is Caleb the guy that I believe he is? And is Matt Eberflus able to take this team to the next level? Man, this hurts me to say. I hate this. I hope I'm wrong, because my dream scenario is that Caleb fails in Chicago, moves somewhere else, then becomes the quarterback that I hope he could be. But man, I have the Bears going 9-8 this year. And this might even make you more happy, Dineen. You can react to it as soon as I finish this. I think the Bears will end the losing streak against the Packers this year.
Yeah, I think they will too. And that's what I think is honestly going to be the biggest, I think, help for Caleb Williams this year. The Bears do not play an NFC North opponent until their 11th game of the season.
Yeah, that was huge.
That's the Packers on November 17th.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot of time to figure out your team, your playbook, your game plans, and put them in a good spot to be competitive in divisional games. Like I think we're all in agreement the Vikings are probably bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Lions are still good. Packers are still good. Jordan Love had a very good second half of the year. I'm sure he'll replicate that.
He was a top 3 quarterback at the second half of the year.
Yeah. Very good quarterback, right? And he's still developing too, because you still see a lot of those things that he does that he got from Aaron, which is kind of not great.
Yeah.
You know,
you see Favre and
a lot of that throwing off your back foot. It'll get you in trouble, but he's done a really good job at getting the ball there. He honestly, the way he throws reminds me more of Peyton Manning than it does Aaron, because the ball doesn't look like, it doesn't look like it's getting there with a lot of speed, but it is, and it's getting into windows and it's beating DBs and it's throwing wide receivers open. So he does a really good job at that. And I think that's going to be the biggest step. Like looking at Jordan Love making that step, that's what Caleb is going to have to do, right? I'm not saying he was great off script in college, but he was also great on script within the pocket. So he needs to keep trusting that and hang in there and just build that throughout the preseason, throughout the early games, which, I mean, we got some awesome quarterback matchups for the Bears to start the season.
Yeah.
We got Williams versus CJ Stroud week 1. Primetime game. The following week, if Anthony Richardson's healthy, we got the Colts. Then the following week, Matthew Stafford. Then the week after that, it's the Panthers, and it's,
Bryce Young.
Hopefully Bryce Young situation gets better for him. And then it's the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. And then it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Like they play like every I'm looking at the list, and then it's Kyler Murray, and then it's probably Drake May, and then Jordan Love, and then the Vikings. Who knows what the hell they're going to trot out there in November? It's going to be JJ McCarthy, who I think stinks. Saw him play when he was in high school. Arm talent was there. I think he stinks. But I'm excited. I kind of hate the schedule that it's like, consecutively Bears, Packers, Bears, Vikings, Bears, Lions, Bears, Niners, Bears, Vikings, Bears, Lions, Bears, Seahawks, Bears, Packers to end the season. Like that's a tough way to end the season, but I kind of like it that they're setting it up to be, all right, Caleb can get his feet wet against non-NFC North opponents and get used to the way the league works.
Mm-hmm. Elio, you got anything to add? Elio, you there? Guess he's not. But again, I think Chicago.
Wait. Oh my. I'm sorry, dude. My mic is saying.
Yep. Go ahead.
I see it's. I think it's unmuted, but it's not. But
Okay.
I see it. I don't want to shift off topic or anything, but I see the Packers going like 13-4, 12-5. I just don't think the Bears are. They're gonna have to pay for trading Justin Fields. I know they only got a 6th-round pick, but I think they're gonna regret it. You're setting your quarterback position like a few years back. You know what I'm saying? And there's no bias on this either. I'm not a Packers fan or Bears fan or nothing.
I
I
disagree
think they're gonna regret it.
Because people have to understand, Justin Fields did not prove himself well enough to get an extension. I don't think people bring that up much enough, because Justin Fields was going to enter a contract year. So what happens if you don't take your chance on the Caleb Williams or Jane Daniels or Drake May? You get them out there next year. Justin Fields fails, and then you have no choice but to replace him, but you're left with no quarterbacks. Then you're in trouble, because the quarterback class this upcoming year does not look too promising. There's Carson back. You hope Drew Allard brings his stock back. Shadir Sanders is there. I still believe he can be the best quarterback out that class, but we have to see. But that class coming up ain't that great. So it's better that you get these 3 quarterbacks who are taught great enough. I believe 3 of these quarterbacks can move the needle for their team. Drake May's probably gonna have the most to go because he got drafted to the worst situation. But it was better off starting over right now, but you built a great enough team to the point where Caleb does not need, to the point that Caleb can get over that hump. It was better for them to draft Caleb and not extend Fields than to keep Fields another year on a prove-it year. I believe it was better for that.
Yeah, and that's also the current GM, Ryan Poles, who's doing a great job. He didn't draft Fields. Eberflus was not the head coach when Fields was drafted, so that plays a lot into it too.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about, like, probably wasn't fair to Justin Fields, honestly. The situation when he started was not good. Last year, he had the opportunity to prove it didn't. But you see that happen a lot. GMs will just be like, all right, if I draft a quarterback, that's going to give me at least another year, another couple years. But I don't think that's the case here, because Ryan Poles, I think, has done such a great job building the team, despite, having to work in the Chicago Bears organization, which is about as poorly run as the Jerry Reinsdorf owned organizations in Chicago. But we'll see. I'm excited. I haven't been excited since 2018 for Bears football, so this will be nice.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that happens? They suck. They've been sucking my entire life. I know how to handle
that. So we'll see. This hurts me because I hate the Bears. My stepdad's a Bears fan. I have a whole family in Chicago who always calling me when the Packers lose. I'm not excited about this year, but I am rooting for my guy Caleb because I have an agenda to protect. So I hope things go well for him. So that's where I'm at with it.
Gotta stick by your takes.
I have to stick by it. I have an agenda, and it's the agenda I've really stuck by the most. So I have to see. I have to see it through.
Hey, Cabe, if the Bears beat the Packers both times this year, will you paint your fingernails?
No way. no.
Okay, pink phone case then.
Pink foot, maybe. Okay, I might.
Okay.
That ain't happening.
I'm not.
No, I think they'll split this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be a split. I think Packers win one at home. Chicago wins one at home.
I got the Packers sweeping.
Sweeping? Well, it won't shock me. Maybe because honestly, to be honest, I think the Bears will actually love it more, even if they miss the playoffs. If they beat the Packers once, they'll probably be fine with Caleb. Just maybe. But I don't know.
Unless if the Bears make the playoffs, I'm still gonna stick with the narrative they're going to regret trading Fields. Yes, I know. I think he's a backup behind Wilson, but once he gets in there, I think it's gonna be over.
I don't know. Unless if he could.
I hope he does. I really do. I hope he does well.
I mean, I hope he does too, but these fans get on my nerves, and I don't care how he performs. So that's where I'm at with it. But so we're gonna move forward. Now this is a first here on Wise Talk. We're talking about hockey.
Yeah, let's talk some puck.
Yeah.
The best playoffs in all of professional sports, the NHL playoffs. It's such a beautiful, violent thing to watch.
Yeah, so in the Stanley Cup Finals, if I'm not mistaken, the Florida Panthers are one game away from clinching it all.
They are.
So, Dineen, you have been the most consistent within the network, within covering the NHL. So, I want you to kind of give us what has happened within the playoffs, and then, of course, the finals.
All right. So, rundown in the playoffs. Just quick points. Carolina. The Canes are frauds. They always have been frauds. People thought they're going to win the cup. Not happening. They're out. Dallas was considered to be the best team in the NHL this year, and they really were. I thought they played, especially in the Western Conference. They played well all year. They ran into Edmonton. Now, Edmonton looking to be the first Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup in over 30 years, which is kind of painful for Canada, but I love it because,
Yeah,
Canada's little brother. Keep little brother down.
Right.
But what the Edmonton Oilers have been able to do series after series after series this playoff run is adjust their game plan. They really figured out how to beat Dallas. They really figured out how to win their previous games because they were able to adjust around game 3. We saw that adjustment last night in game 3 against the Florida Panthers. But it's just not enough. The Panthers are a wagon.
Yeah.
Now, what the Panthers do that I love, they play fast. They play well on the break. They do a great job of getting the puck in Edmonton's end and then chasing after it so they can cycle it in and get their offense going. Edmonton's just kind of looked lost when it comes to that. It's a real problem when Connor McDavid for Edmonton is second in your team in hits, right? Like, he's the guy. He's the goal scorer. He's the next, Crosby. He's the next Gretzky. He's that guy, right? He's that guy in the league who's the next, chosen one, right? Like, this was his opportunity to prove, yes, I'm the guy. But not only does he have to prove it, Leon Draisaitl, their second best player, who's phenomenal. has to prove it. Evan Bouchard has to prove it. Zach Hyman has to prove it. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had to prove it. You know what those 5 guys have in common?
What's that?
They are the top 5 point getters for the Edmonton Oilers over the season. They have the 5 most points. And they have 0 goals in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh.
So we got Connor McDavid, no goals. Leon Draisaitl, nothing. And they got shut out in game 1 because, Igor Bobrovsky, the goalie for Florida, is just an absolute stud between the pipes, and Stuart Skinner on the other end. He gets a lot, Stuart Skinner, he's got a lot of crap in his career in Edmonton. He's only 25. That you can't win. You're not going to be able to win a Stanley Cup with him. I think you can, but this year's just not the year. He needs time to get going. I remember similar situations, looking at the Chicago Blackhawks when they were winning their cups in 13 and 15, 13 specifically. Well, 15 specifically, saying, you can't win with Corey Crawford. Can't do it in the goal. And he was a younger goaltender who, unfortunately, he ended up having to retire in 2020 because of some, concussion symptoms that he had dealing with. But he was a stud. 2013, 2015, they're saying you can't win with him. You got to trade him. What they do in 15, they won with him. Right? So you got to give these guys time to develop as a goalie. But, Florida, as good as their offense is, they're the chippiest. They'll get in your face. They're going to run you into the boards. They're going to hit you in open ice. They're going to really make you think twice when you cross that blue line when you're trying to look and attack the goal. And that's something that Edmonton lacks. Now, Edmonton likes to play the fake tough guy after the whistle. You got Evander Kane punching Tkachuk in the face coming off the ice. You got guys hitting guys well after the whistle's blown. The Panthers do that too. They're dirty too. But they're laying down the law while play's going on. They're very long defensively. Just think about the NBA.
Right.
Think about a guy like Taj Gibson. Was Taj Gibson that great of a player?
No,
he was good. But what was he good at? He was good at getting his arms out there and extending the floor defensively, making it tough for you to score. So that's what he did. And that's what the Panthers are doing. They got some big guys on their top 6 defensemen, really making you work, really making it tough for you to get passes through the zone. And that's going to be it. Again, I'm not going to say Edmonton win or the Panthers are going to win tomorrow night. Just because hockey's hockey. If you get puck luck, you're going to win a game. It's tough to call, but Panthers in 5.
Panthers,
and that's 5. That on puck talk.
Yeah. So what it looks like to me, it looks like that Edmonton in game 3 was on on a verge of a comeback.
Yeah.
But then Florida was able to stop it right away from what I'm seeing.
That's that was what I was talking about. They've been able to make those adjustments by game 3 because Chris Knobloch, he's going to get a lot of heat for losing the Stanley Cup when they lose, but he's a phenomenal coach and he does a really good job getting the boys in Edmonton prepped and ready to go. So it was just, honestly, they made the right moves, change and try and make it a series, but Florida's just that much better.
Okay. Quick question. Who has been the MVP of these playoffs? The best player of these playoffs?
Ooh, best player. It's got to be Bobrovsky, goalie for the Florida Panthers. I mean, yeah, it's pretty easy to play. It's pretty easy to be the goalie when your defense is buzzing and you got guys moving and playing good in front of you. But he's just been phenomenal. He's been the best. He deserves his flowers. He's been awesome. So he's been the number 1 difference maker.
All right, that's.
Although I will say for the Oilers, I got to talk about a cat they got this year. Rodriguez. He Oh man, he's such a he's awesome. He doesn't deserve losing like this because he's just I'm trying to give him a comp here. Think like Bobby Portis for the Bucks, but like actually being good at basketball. If Bobby Portis was actually like good, that's what Rodriguez has been for Edmonton. Like it's such a good spark. He's one of the few guys to actually get the puck in on net, like for a goal this postseason. So shout out to him. They got him on cheap.
So 2021 Bobby Portis is his comp.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, because that's
we'll talk
NBA
NBA champion Bobby Portis is his comp.
Yeah, NBA champion Bobby Portis.
Yeah, but he's been awesome. He doesn't get enough shine.
Yeah, we definitely had to talk about a little Stanley Cup playoffs because sometimes I can get in because sometimes I have the ability to watch it, but of course it's right in the middle of the NBA playoffs as well. So, and we know basketball content director, I have to focus on that. Yeah. So all of that stuff, but from what I've seen from the NHL, it's always exciting. So,
you know who loves the NHL?
Who would that be?
Chuck Barkley. Charles Barkley loves the NHL.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So hopefully next year when TNT's done with inside the NBA, RIP.
Yeah, there is talk.
They're just gonna get Chuck on the TNT NHL broadcast.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. But there is talks though that
Sorry, go ahead.
But there is talks though that inside the NBA could make a could be back as TNT is trying to work with the NBA to get a smaller deal, but it's still not set in stone just yet. So
hopefully they can just move networks and be fine.
But
that's honestly that's my favorite part about the NBA. I'm not even joking. They're so good. They're awesome at their job.
Yeah. I mean, I love them. There's some stuff that kind of like ticks me off about them. Like sometimes their opinions about some players in different situations. But as a team, as a collective, what they do, their pregame insights, especially their halftime coverage and their postgame coverage, I think they're the best among the NBA in terms of that. And it's not even close. It ain't even close. Because we're seeing the TNT and the ESPN coverage of the NBA. It's night and day. It's night and day. But heading on to the last segment of our podcast today, we have to talk about one of the most hyped video games I could remember in a very long time. College football returns to the video gaming industry next month. And I'm so excited. I'm not really patient in terms of this game. I'm so ready to play it. I don't plan on playing.
Oh, I pre-ordered it.
You've already pre-ordered?
Oh yeah, I don't care if it's everyone's like, "Oh, Madden skin." It's college football, baby.
It's college football, and it's not even really a reskin. Like a lot of stuff has changed.
It's next gen.
Yeah. A lot of stuff has changed, but of course, some of that Madden is still in there. Of course, they wasn't going to completely build a entire new engine for the game. I mean, college football and Madden had the exact same gameplay engine when it was on the PS3 and the 360. So I don't know why they're complaining. But
yeah, just one was a little bit. NCAA always ran a little bit faster, but that was kind of by their design for that game.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pumped. I can't wait. Notre Dame won't win a national title in real life, so I'll have to do it before I do an
Yeah.
Army or Navy or Appalachian State build
Yeah.
or Hawaii, where you can only get kids from Hawaii on your team.
That's right. I'm so pumped. I'm ready. Of course, give my Badgers a national championship, and then go ahead and give Georgia Southern the title. No, not a title. Create a dynasty at Georgia Southern. Man, there's so much stuff I'm ready to do with college football. I'm so pumped. Elio, are you pumped about about the new college football game?
Well, I'm never too hyped about EA made games, but I think they'll hit on this one.
Yeah.
And I'll probably get it. I haven't pre-ordered. I'll probably just get it on the release.
Mm.
I've never been a big college football guy, but I watched it the past year. My team did horrible, but it was fun to watch the other teams in the playoffs play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably will get college football 25. Yeah, I'm pretty overall. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I was gonna do. Road to Glory kind of disappointed me because the fun part about it was playing the high school games, building your stock, and then heading off from there. But now you choose what path you want to be. If you want to be a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, and do whatever you want to do. But I think that takes the fun out of it a little bit. Dynasty looks promising. I don't know how you could mess up Dynasty because that's the game mode everyone's going to play. No one cares about Ultimate Team.
Yeah, I hate that they're doing. I understand why they're doing Ultimate Team because they do that for every. It's an easy way for them to make money. I'm not going to touch that at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the high school part that was fun, but I think they're adding some pretty good stuff to Road to Glory that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I won't touch Ultimate Team either.
Yeah, it's the money. It's their money grab.
Eventually, they get me to pay the $50 or whatever. I fall for it every time. I'm not gonna do it. Never gonna do it again.
Yeah, that's what I hate about. Like I love FIFA too. Like FIFA, I love, and I hate that about FIFA because you can get to a certain point on Ultimate Team, and then it's like an unofficial money wall if you want to be competitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. I play FC24. It's the same way. You could build your team up. No, you don't gotta pay, but then there's gonna be a point where you probably should pay if you want to get competitive.
Yeah, and that's what I actually like about MLB The Show. They have a pretty good.
Oh yeah, they're resetting
you don't
the
have to
season.
spend any money. What was that?
Yep. Well, so the season 2 just came out. They reset your team basically, and you got to work up for a wild card. So you can get your better players on there. You know what I'm saying? So I like how they're resetting it.
I don't like that whole season.
I think it's good because it's better than having God squads the whole year.
Right.
That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, Ultimate Team, I don't see being touched really because Ultimate Team was on NCAA 14, 13 in the previous NCAA football games, but no one really touched it. So I think it's gonna be the same here. The gameplay looks good. I don't think there's not much to complain with anyway, but that these EA, I hate EA myself, but there's a lot of people who's gonna nitpick, and their flaws are going to be shown. It's EA Sports, for crying out loud. But man, college football is gonna be a very great year. Of course, the video game in the season itself is gonna be very, very interesting as we're about to enter the first ever college football season in decades without Nick Saban. And that's big. That's big. Anything else that y'all
Yeah, did
want
you
to
see
add?
that? Did you see that video of Dabo meeting with that recruit and he had no idea what his name was?
I did not see that, but that does not shock.
It's look it up. It's so funny. You know, if you're gonna be Dabo and you're gonna not use the transfer portal, you should probably know your recruits' names.
Right.
But that's all I got. I got nothing else.
Yeah. Elio, you have anything to add?
Not really. I will get the game. Won't touch Ultimate Team, but I will for sure touch Dynasty for sure. It's probably all I'll play. But yeah, EA is just it's a money grab when you do like types of games like Ultimate Team. So I mean, just gonna save money. Just stick with Dynasty.
Yeah. That is gonna do it. That was our first Wise Talk episode in I don't know how long, but it's been great talking to you. This was your first ever Wise Talk podcast, Elio. How did it feel?
Oh, it feels great, man. I'm excited for the future.
And Dineen, this was your first Wise Talk podcast through a Zoom call, as you've been through all of our Pious specials, but this is now your first Zoom call. How did it feel, Dineen?
Yeah, it went well. It was good. Good to tell somebody my stuff besides the wife. So it's been good.
Right. I'm gonna let y'all two go. As we enjoy the weekend. We'll be recording again tomorrow, so we'll be seeing. So we hope to see y'all tomorrow. That's gonna do it for Wise Talk. We'll see you then.
All right.
See you guys.
Yes.